All right. Thank you everyone for joining our demo day, our impact demo day today. We'd like to start with a few words for the chairman of our firm, Dr. Eyal Shenhav. Eyal, would you like to start?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you, Mirav, and thank you everyone who joined today. We had many demo days in 2022 and 23. We didn't organize a demo day, and this is a good opportunity to do one at the end of the year. And I think it's a special one because it's called Impact Demo Day. And basically all the companies you're going to see presenting are all impact-oriented, water, climate, and so on. And Mirav will obviously give us a little more about each company. And the format is quite simple. We have a very short presentation by Mirav about climate impact investing trends in the world. And then we have 7 companies, each presenting for 7 minutes. And 1 minute is for Q&A from participants. So overall, it's about a 1-hour format. It's recorded, so people can see it after we finish once again. And again, I want to thank all our panelists for joining, and looking forward to a great event, and wishing us all safe times in this troubled times, and hopefully this is a good kickoff for more demo days that will commence in 2024. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eyal. A few words on why demo day today and of trending investing in impact in the world today. First of all, we asked ourselves, why demo day today? Why now? When our hearts and our thoughts are with the families of victims still have kidnapped in Gaza, still in a war where investors try to sustain what they have, and with worries and other fears. But we also understand that this is the time where Israeli cutting-edge technology can solve and should be solving the challenges that emerge in the world today, and fight for our economy as well. So a few words regarding the current challenges. Amongst the challenges, the geopolitical challenges, there are also opportunities. For example, let's start with one of the challenges are the risks of oil and gas supply, not just the environmental impact of oil and gas, but also the supply, also the risk of food scarcity, also growing regulatory impact and requirements in the EU. We see growing disclosure requirements of supply chains which affect companies worldwide. More data is needed regarding ESG, and more data should be collected. Also regulatory pressure on institutional investors to invest and to consider ESG considerations when investing. But on the other side, also incentives like the EU's Green Deal or the US Inflation Reduction Act. All those support impact investing, which contributes not only to the environment and to social life, but also to countries' energy, water, and food independence, which is in growing demand today. S&P published in October their private equity and venture capital deal landscape for 2023 until Q3. And they also published in the top 15 emerging sectors by region. Amongst those, of course, all of those who ask for in the first places, of course, we see the AI and machine learning. But we also see in there the clean energy as number 7 in the US and as number 3 in EU and in APAC. But we also see there climate tech and clean tech. We see climate tech as number 10 in the EU and as number 15 in the EU. We see in Asia Pacific, we see climate tech as number 9. The Global Impact Investing Network, the GINN, also published an emerging trends in impact investing for 2023. And in there, they surveyed their member investors in impact, all in impact, And they found, and I took from them some of the insights that they have taken from their investors who participated in their survey. And they say some of the following. They say investors have indicated increases in capital available for impact investing. They also say that 55 of investors have not seen a change in the impact performance in 2023, and they actually see 10% showing improvement in 2023. They also say that in 2022, 61% of their investors allocated some of their assets under management to food and agriculture, while they expect 60% plan to increase their investments in food and agricultural allocation, and also 59% in infrastructure, sorry. We also see in Startup Nation Central, in Israel, in their May 2023 report, we learned that a quarter of all climate tech investments are in clean industry. You'll see Superpolymer, whom you'll hear of immediately. In there, we see a quarter of investments in climate tech, in food and agriculture. We see out of which 73 is in Agri-tech. You'll hear AgriPass, Rumafeed, Aruga, and Blue Circle AI today regarding Agri-tech, and 12% in water solutions. You'll hear of H2O's solution, which, as I mentioned, countries' independence, energy, water, and food independence is one of the needs. You'll hear that from H2O as well. Impact is about, as you know, 17 sustainable development goals, of which today you'll hear companies in the inequalities, where you'll hear Purpolence, you'll hear of Zero Hunger Goal, Climate Tech Action, and industry innovation. So without further ado, may I introduce Guy Ortner from Superpolymer to tell you a little about Superpolymer. Guy. Guy, okay. Guy, we cannot hear you.
Yes, I said you cannot speak without the presentation. So hi, I'm Hagai. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Superpolymer. Our high crystalline polymer technology produces a material which is strong, light, and thermally insulating. So our first business use case is to increase thermal insulation for a variety of construction materials. As you may already know, the construction industry is under increasing pressure to reduce carbon emissions related to the cooling and heating of buildings. Additionally, there is a constant need to find better solutions to improve construction materials' resistance to water and humidity. Within the scope of this huge problem, one of the most significant components in a construction system are elastomeric coatings, wall, roof, and floor coatings designed to isolate the building from different weather conditions. With an advanced additive like Superpolymer, these coatings can significantly improve thermal insulation of the building and consequently reduce energy consumption. Let's take a quick look at the elastomeric coating market. In Europe alone, the Superpolymer opportunity size is $0.7 billion a year, according to this year's forecasts. To us, it's practically an endless market because tens of thousands of tons of Superpolymer material need to be produced to realize this opportunity. I would now like to walk you through the process we use to create Superpolymer just briefly. We take a polyethylene as our feedstock and apply just a physical process to turn it into a fully crystalline polymer with a unique morphology, as shown in the right picture. This process is generic and can fit any thermoplastic polymer that can crystallize, And this means many other materials that can be processed using our unique technology. What is the product? It's a white, very lightweight dry powder used as an additive. When mixed into different elastomeric coatings, it improves their performances. We started working with the wall coating known as decorative plaster coating. And this is what we achieved. This is the kind of impact that we can provide. To start, we reduce heat transfer by 12 Celsius degrees or even more. We reduce water absorption by 60%, reduce the overall weight of the coating by up to 20%, improve mechanical strength and whiteness of the coating. As far as we know, there is no other additive that can provide such a high heat barrier like superpolymer, not to mention the entire bundle of advantages I just presented. Superpolymer incorporated 3 years ago. Since then, we raised $1.7 million in equity, safes, and grants. Recently, we closed a safe investment and commercial agreement with strategic partner from the local construction industry. A few weeks ago, we won the Innovation Authority grant of $300,000. We are selling samples for potential customers and negotiating a joint development project with other potential partners. So our next step is clear. We need to scale up our production capacity and to have a successful product validation with our potential customers. And this is what we plan to do in the next 18 months. We'll start by meeting our partners' first and second milestones. After that, we need to validate the product by the end of the fourth quarter of 2024. At the third quarter, we'll start working on our pilot facility. This will take approximately 6 months. And we plan to start our seed round at the beginning of 2025. At a burn rate of $70,000 a month, $1.5 million are needed to secure this 18 months runway with a safety cushion and to deliver our goals. We have 1 million and we need 500,000 more. Our team members are experts in polymer science, chemical industry processes, construction materials formulations, and startup business development. A strong and active scientific board is also part of our team. And to summarize, we propose to invest in superpolymer $500,000 in safe, and the money will be used to scale up our production capacity and to complete successful product validation with several potential customers. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to take your questions.
Any questions to Hagai? Hagai, thank you so much. We'll move next to Rumafeed, to Arnon Rosenbaum.
Question for Hagai. Where is your production? Okay. Where is the company located?
Currently, we are in Be'er Sheva. We intend to have a commercial facility here in Be'er Sheva for many reasons, but the majority of the production will be in licensing modeling with the potential partners abroad.
Thank you very much. Thank you for meeting the 7-minute deadline.
Of course. Thank you.
Arnon, Rumafeed, speak to us about food.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me fine?
We can hear you very well.
Excellent. So first of all, I'm extremely delighted to be here, and thank you, Goldfarb, for the invitation, and thank you for everyone who joined. I will present RumaFeed. I'm the CEO of RumaFeed. Oh, let's see that the slides move. So in RumaFeed, we're a bioscience and technology company. We deal specifically with Solanaceae plants, primarily potatoes, processing tomatoes, eggplants, capsicum, these type of crops. And even more specifically, we deal with the gene editing of Solanaceae plants. Our focus is on improved productivity and reduced farming waste. This is what we focus on. I'll start by saying what drives us, what makes us wake up in the morning, what really makes us tick. So we all know that we're in quite a dire situation in terms of the need to produce much more food. In our case, also much more feed. I'll explain about that later on. But at the same time, the resources are limited, primarily land and water, but not only. So this is essentially what makes us wake up in the morning. How do we help solve that? In our case, we're looking primarily, as I said, land and water, and how do we produce much more food given the same or even less resources? So Solanaceae plants, for those of you who don't know, are probably the most significant vegetable crops in the market. First and foremost, it's potatoes. That's the third most important crop, fourth or fifth largest, depending on the year. More than 18 million hectares of potato crop grown globally in a total value of $112 billion. Tomatoes is the second thereafter. It's the most important vegetable crop because most people don't consider potatoes as a vegetable, even though it is. And it's around $203 billion globally, followed by eggplants and capsicum. So this is essentially our playground. And what we do there is we try to look for specific things and traits that we can improve in the crop in order to produce more crop with less resources. The first step and the first product that we have at hand is related to potatoes. For those of you who don't know, about 33% of the biomass of potato is everything above ground, what we call the halm. And all of that currently goes to waste. So we essentially invest resources, land, water, fertilizers, everything in order to grow that biomass. And then we kill it using, for the most part, herbicides, which are in themselves quite harmful. In other crops like wheat and corn, we use 100% of the biomass produced. And this is essentially our first product, is silencing the gene that's responsible for the production of toxic substance in the halm, and thus enabling the utilization of all this biomass as first feed for animals, animal feed, and in later stages also human feed. And just to give you a figure, this specific market, the potato seed market, is a $10 billion a year market. Needless to mention that this has huge environmental benefits. So on the same land, you produce more using the same water, you produce more using the same amount of fertilizer, you significantly increase the output using the same amount of resources minus the herbicides that are used in order to kill the halm. We've basically, in terms of where we are, we already completed the development. We've proven that we can silence that specific gene. We have done tests in vitro, so on artificial stomach, to prove that this is a viable feedstock. And we've also done in vivo on lambs. And we've proven not only that this is a viable feed source, but even more than that, that it's in par or even superior to the best feed available in the market. And just to give you a feeling, for every hectare produced, we can generate an extra $600, which now goes to waste. Completely byproduct, completely incremental. Mirav touched on that at her intro. Obviously, we're all looking at the UN SDGs as kind of the North Star, what we want to ensure that we address. In our case, we address 7 out of the 17, which is quite significant. Not all of them to the same extent, but this is quite a significant impact, and we're addressing quite a few of the UN SDG goals. In terms of the team, so we have a very, very strong team. Probably the most notable one is Professor Chaim Rabinovich, which is the ex-dean of the Rehovot faculty. He is also our CTO and our founder. And in the team, we have many more capable people coming both from the ag industry as well as from the food industry and the consumer goods industry. And as a summary, we're now starting around. We're looking for about $3 million in safe mechanism to keep us going. What we need the money for is primarily to start sales and to start go-to-market efforts in the various markets, primarily North America, and after that, India and Latin America and other markets which are prominent potato growing markets. Thank you very much. 15 seconds to spare.
Okay. Thank you, Arnon. One quick question. You said it's feedstock. How you are going to deliver the feedstock from the land to where? How does it work? How does the supply chain work in that respect?
So the supply chain is primarily, in our case, using silage, which means you basically cut and carry the halim, and then you produce out of that what's called silage, which can be transported and can be stored for prolonged periods. And that's very, very common in the marketplace. It's done from wheat, from corn, from alfalfa. So we're basically, that's quite common in the marketplace.
You're asked, what's the ask? What are you asking for?
The ask is $3 million in safe mechanism.
Okay. Many thanks, Arnon.
Thank you.
Next on our list, just a second, guys. Just a second, we're with you.
By the way, until Merav finds the next presentation, just to say Merav is heading our Agri-tech practice. And she's a partner in our high-tech and international department.
Thank you. Next is Asaf Friedler from Agripass. Talk to us about robotics.
From Agripass Robotics, yeah. Can you hear me well? Checking.
We can hear you very well, Asaf, yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. My name is Asaf Friedler from Agripass Robotics. We are creating actually a high-speed, non-chemical robotic weeding platform for conventional agriculture. Weeds are today considered one of the main problems in agriculture. Actually, there are two main problems. One is the lack of manpower. No one wants to work in the agri field, especially not to take care for weeds. Excuse me. Secondly, there's the weeds, and the best and shortest way to define the problem of the weeds in agriculture is the competition for resources. Weeds are actually competing with crops for sunlight, for water, nutrient, and space, and this can lead to reduced crop yields, to increase the production cost, and even crop failure. Now, unfortunately or fortunately in our case, there is also the weed resistance, and weed resistant actually resists to herbicide, to chemicals, and it's become a huge issue. So actually herbicides are losing this fight to weeds. Sorry. A bit about ourselves. I'll start with my great partner, Dr. Guy Raz, Talpiot graduator, PhD in physics, with track record of lots of years in development, founded a couple of companies with a couple of exits. again, very proud to have him as my partner. A bit about myself: academic background in physics, electrical engineering, many years in the fields of development, and also founded a couple of companies, sold some companies, both of us with a couple of exits and even IPO. We are very proud of our crew. We are currently a total of 6 now. All are expert in their field, starting from mechanical engineering, agronomists, computer vision, and so on. Also admire our advisory board with knowledge in business, crop protection, and so started to work on this problem almost a year now. Established the company this May, beginning of May, already received an investment of $1.6 million. Started with our co-founders, E44, an Israeli venture capital, got late investment from a private investment abroad, and got a grant from the IIA, filled a unique patent application, and we are heading toward a successful POC, which I will describe later on. So actually the problem is herbicide is losing its effectiveness, and this is risking the food safety. Even when we're using herbicide, growers and farmers are still losing yield. In some cases, 30, 40, and 50% of their yield. What you can see on the right side of the graph is the numbers of weeds that are competing with herbicide that are actually winning. So growers and farmers are using a lot of chemicals, but they are not effective anymore. Aside, there's the regulation, both in the United States, and you probably know the Green Deal in Europe. There is the demand for a reduction of the chemical herbicide by 2030, which is around the corner. So no one will be able to use chemicals for weeding, and we are dealing here with a huge market. The annual market of herbicide is 70 billion a year, which is a lot. Currently, the way to treat the weeds, it is done by large sprayers, again, with a lot of chemicals, and all the way to manual weeding, which is currently irrelevant because of the cost, and no one wants to do it, actually. And what we are doing is actually we developed a system which I will describe, that is taking care for high throughput mechanical weeding with no chemicals. We can handle the weeds from the roots, and we minimize the soil disturbance. And how do we do it? With something that we patent, which we called AST, adaptive selective tilling. We have a system that is attached to a tractor with cameras, with computer units, and with action units. We know how to track very fast crops, weeds, a different type of weeds, and we know how to treat them very fast. And by saying very fast, I mean ultra fast. We're taking care of 200 weeds per second, which is very, very fast solution. And we're doing it because we're aiming for the conventional market and not only for the organic market. From the last May until today, this is what we have achieved so far. Special algorithms to identify crops and weeds and different type of weeds, and the action unit that you can see that is going very fast into the ground and taking the weed out. And very fast, by the way, I mean in almost 200 milliseconds, we can deal one weed, which is very, very fast. Started working in our lab, and lately we're starting to work outside in some of the fields near Jerusalem. Our business model is based on selling machines, very, very simple, very, very focused. We will sell machines. Later on, we will sell service, lease these units, and add data services, but very focused on selling the machines that will do the work for the growers and will replace the herbicide for them. As for the market validation, already have great contact with growers from around the world, from Israel and the United States and Europe, and large players. all are saying the same thing, that they all know that in the coming 5 to 10 years, they will not use chemicals as they use today, and the only solution is going to be a mechanical solution, and in our case, the high-speed solution, which is the only one which can fit to conventional market. We are currently looking to extend our safe round, seeking to add additional 500 Ks, and this is in order to enhance our business activity, to expand the market research, to identify more strategic partners, and to extend our runway till the end of 2024, and to complete a field POC, which hopefully is going to be ready in a couple of months from now. Thank you so much, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions you will have.
How many employees do you have now?
Sorry?
How many, what's the size of the team? How many employees overall?
We are a crew of 6. It's Guy and myself, and the crew total is 6, with the computer vision expert, agronomist, mechanical engineer expert with background of developing agri equipment, electrical engineers.
Asaf, can you just please quickly repeat just what's the ask?
Yeah, of course. We're looking for 500 Ks. And the reason is mainly to enhance our market research, to contact more and more strategic partners. Currently, we've started to work with some leading players around the world, from the States, from the United States, and also from Europe, meaning the leading players. And of course, to extend our runway till the end, at least till the end of 2024.
Thank you, Asaf. A quick question.
We have a question from the audience. What is the current accuracy rate of your system?
Okay, we are aiming, of course, to 100%, but currently we are above 97%, which is very, very high. We are taking care for 2 important goals. One is not to do any harm for the crops, and secondly, to hit as many weeds as we can. This is something that is very unique in our case, because doing it in a high-speed mode, taking care for more than 200 weeds per second, and not to touch the crop, is something unique, something that we've started to develop here. Both Guy and I have experience with, it's not the first robotic and AI companies that we've founded, and this is something that we bring from our experience, of course.
Asaf, one last quick question, and please a short answer. How much will be needed to manufacture the equipment?
Okay, so this is something that we consider when we'll reach the round A. Actually, we already started to contact manufacturers, so we are planning to do licensing of the technology. Currently, not planning to found a factory over here. Probably some tens of units will be assembly here at Agri-tech, but later on there are some global players that we've started the contact with them that will manufacture the systems at their sites, or some strategic partners, meaning the large manufacturers of the agri systems.
And very last question, just in one word, how much was invested so far?
A bit more than $1.6 million.
All right, a quick question back to Arnon, just on how much was invested in RumaFeed so far. If you could just
Roughly 1.5 million.
Many, many thanks. So we move forward to Aruga. Ido, the floor is yours. Again, tell us about robotics.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me and see my screen?
Yeah.
So thanks first for the opportunity to present. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Ido, co-founder and CEO of Aruga. We are developing robots to treat and monitor every plant in the greenhouse in order to tackle the toughest problem faced by growers, and it's the shortage and therefore rising cost of labor. This slide can also say just labor, labor, and labor, right? Because discovering pests, diseases, and other stresses is labor, and so is pollination. Even in the case of bumblebee users in greenhouses, when there are problems with the bees, growers revert to manual pollination. And here's a nice picture of the bee. And so we developed as a first product a robot for pollination of tomatoes in greenhouses, but we are developing a multitask robot, what we call the grower's Swiss Army knife, to automate many tasks in the greenhouse. And it's a very large market for us, just in tomatoes. You can see it's a $16 billion market. But our modules work in other crops. For example, a lowering module that you'll see a video a few slides down works on any crop in the greenhouse that is tied to trellis wires. We've tested our pollination technology on berries very successfully, and other modules can treat other crops in the greenhouse, approximately doubling the market size. Let's fly over to Australia and see this nice video. So please meet Polly. This is our first product for pollination of tomatoes. Now, tomato flowers are self-pollinating, but they need a gentle and accurate vibration to release enough pollen on the stigma for proper fruit setting. So our robots autonomously scan the rows. They detect flowers that are ready for pollination and send air pulses to vibrate them. Again, I emphasize these are air pulses. We're not sending chemicals or pollen or hormones. We just shake the flowers in a very accurate way. Also, non-contact pollination, preventing spread of viruses and diseases. Now, this specific grower in Australia is seeing constant increases in yield, very stable pollination, and has told us that any robot that we can supply, they'll take to cover all their greenhouse area. We have more than 40 units out in the field, and some are on the way on ships in the US, Europe, and Australia. All under long-term commercial agreements. We have 9 agreements overall for all our 3 existing modules. The first one is pollination. The 2 others you'll see also in the video in the next slide. Some of them are leading growers, very large, with very high potential with all these customers in the future with our robots and modules. In this video, you can see 2 of our new modules. First one being lowering and leaning. This is a very labor-intensive task done every week on all plants in the greenhouse. This is also an occupational hazard because you need to lift the plants, which are quite heavy. We also supply data to the grower on a weekly basis with the cameras that are already on the robot from our pollination module, also detecting pests. These are leaf miners on the leaves. And just recently, we've added a third-party module for very high resolution detection of pests in the greenhouse, both the bad pests and the beneficials. Remarkably, these images were taken while the robot was moving. Very needed module. We've already signed first agreements to supply these 2 new modules early next year, and looking forward for that. Our management, employees, advisors, they bring a broad set of skills and expertise, all needed for a successful robotics company in agriculture. With this, we also plan to address the UN sustainability goals. First and foremost, increasing food security, of course, by increasing yield and reducing losses. But in the longer run, we plan to help reduce pesticide use and increase food safety. Because by very early detection, as our robots scan every plant almost every day, with early detection, we can enable local and immediate treatment, and in some cases, even reduce pesticide altogether. So in summary, we plan to lead automation of greenhouse farming and enable the growth as a very, very important sector, and improve the resilience of this sector in lieu of climate change and increasing heat. And we are now raising a $3 million price round. We have $1.8 million already committed, so we'd love to engage with investors. Our main goals with these funds is reaching sales revenues of $1 million in ARR, and also proving product market fit for our 2 new modules. So thank you very much.
Ido, a question for you from the viewers. Are the machines only made for greenhouses, or do they feed the fields as well?
So our machines are fit for greenhouses right now, but we've also collaborated with another Israeli company to put our modules on ground. So for example, a future module that we plan to do is flower pruning, which is highly needed in deciduous fruits. And so this is a plan for the future for us, but definitely our modules fit greenhouses, but also beyond.
Who's manufacturing the modules?
We are manufacturing them at a subcontractor in the north of Israel, in Beit Shean, and these are sent directly from there to all our customers.
Thank you, Ido. Thank you very much. We're
you.
moving to Blue Circle AI. Avi, floor is yours.
Great. Thank you all for joining today. My name is Avi Koren. I'm CEO at Blue Circle AI. We basically dealing with sustainability and climate resilience, mainly in the wine industry. I'm saying mainly because in a minute I'll show other industries that we are active in as well. So we're dealing with optimizing the supply chain, mainly in the agriculture, Agri-tech based industry. And these are a few examples of markets that we are dealing with: wine, beverage ingredients, and the agri-food, the grains, seeds, and so on. Just for these 3, total market target for us is around $21 billion. Saying that we also applied our solution to other markets, which if we have time, I'll share more about. I decided to focus on the wine industry. And why wine? Wine industry generates annually around $450 billion worth of revenue. There are 65,000 wineries around the globe. Majority of them, of course, are boutique wineries. However, there are good size of wineries, a number that are mid-size, and there are the enterprises. There are 30 enterprise wineries around the globe, which generate each a few billions of dollars. And the market is focused mainly in Italy, Spain, France, and the US, and China recently as well, in volume of producing their wine. The wine industry, on one hand, suffers from or relies on climate change, and that endangers more than 10% of the wineries around the globe. Many of them are going to shut down. Some already did, mainly because they are impacted by climate, and there is not enough know-how and tools in order to cope with those changes in a real time. At the same time, wineries are rich in data. They have wineries exist for some of them for decades, but let's say that with the data, tabular data, most of them have at least 20 years of data that is no use today. They don't have the time or ability to use that in order to make the better decision. That's where we take that opportunity. Our AI platform, first of all, identify risks, same as in a cyber system, and also identify opportunities across the value chain. While it all starts with the climate, then goes to the vineyard, and all the way along the value chain. And we deliver 3 elements to the decision makers. First of all, warnings in a real time, then optimization of the supply chain, enabling them to make a better decision based on data and AI algorithm, and also prediction, taking an event that happens at the beginning of the line and then apply it to the next phases along the line. The way our system is built is that on the left side, if you can see, we extract data from internal and external databases. Internal could be simple Excel or any kind of an ERP system, CRM system, HR, logistics system, and from external databases such as climate, freight. We have all the databases available for us in a real time. Digest this data and deliver to the customer. On the right side, you can see each bullet represent a module along the supply chain. And the way we market it, that each market can purchase one, two, or the whole modules that we have along the supply chain in order to enable optimization of either one separately or the whole system together. The company was established about 5 years ago by these two founders, Eli and Ishai. Both come from the Israeli intelligence forces, well known in the industry. They both established startup companies and sold them to Microsoft. That's where they met, and also learned more about the AI. And I used to be a customer of the company up until a year ago, for 5 years. I mean, we worked together, we implemented the system at my previous company, and when I decided to leave there, they offered me to join as a CEO. So all of us, by the way, still the company, including two founders.
Avi, we need you to conclude.
Okay. The system is implemented already at 30 wineries around the globe, and we plan to grow next year to go to 120 and then to 900, where we believe will be a break-even point. We have 10 people in our team, all in Tel Aviv. We're backed by VCs in Israel and angel investors. We have grants from the Israeli IIA, and we're looking for an investment mainly in order to fuel sales and marketing efforts and to penetrate to new markets. We launched a $2 million safe round just a few weeks ago. 1 million out of it already secured by our existing shareholders, and we're looking for the next 1 million. Thanks a lot.
Quick question from the audience.
Just as a disclaimer, Avi's daughter works in our firm, but we invited him nevertheless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A quick question from the audience. How do we get the investment decks performance for these companies? This is a general question to all of us. After this demo day, you'll receive an email from us with all the details, contact details, everything you need, and we will be here to help you meet and whatever is needed to give you whatever information that is required at this point. So we'll send you a separate email right after the demo day. Avi, quick question. Where are you located here in Israel?
In Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. Okay. Okay. Our next company is H2O. If I may present Yoav Kirsch. Yoav, we cannot hear you. Yoav, we see things that we probably shouldn't be seeing.
No.
Let's try again.
Okay, now we can hear you.
And now you can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
So I'm very happy to be here. My name is Yoav Kirsch. I'm CEO and co-founder of H2O. H2O produces water out of the air in dry areas. And I'd like to ask you to imagine that you're receiving now a notice from your municipality that there are no water in your taps, or you cannot drink the water from your taps. So for us Israelis, it sounds imaginary, but for 1.1 million people in critical water shortage, it's far from being imaginary, and it's actually a daily, I would say, fact of life. And 90 million people out of these 1.1 billion live in very dry areas, and this numbers is growing all the time due to urbanization, population growth, and climate change. I want to show you how H2O actually meets the challenge of 24/7 drinking water in dry areas in an optimal way compared to all other options and competitions. So we are the left column here. We use absorption, atmospheric water generation technology. And if we compare us to groundwater, which is the classical solution used today, groundwater in dry areas is becoming scarce and is going to become obsolete, while we will be able to produce 24/7 water. Another solution is mobilizing water by trucks. It's quite expensive. And again, if it's based on groundwater, it's not going to be available. The most popular solution is mineral bottled water. It's a very expensive solution and it's an environmental disaster. And again, if it's based on groundwater, it's not going to remain. There will be no groundwater, or the springs are going to dry up. And last, our direct competition is alternative direct cooling technology of atmospheric water generation. In dry areas, it's going to be expensive, and it's not going to meet its usual SLA, which is in humid areas. And in some cases, it's not going to be able to provide water at all, while we will be able to still provide 24/7 water in dry areas. So we are going to meet the challenge of 24/7 drinking water in dry areas. And what is our solution? Our solution is a 1,000 liter per day system. It's in a small sea container. It's off-grid and enough for 200 people, according to World Health Organization standards of 5 liters per day per person. It's compatible to any type of electricity. It's plug and play, and it's based on a reliable, ever-renewing source, the atmosphere. Now imagine this container on a multi-tenant building with special hose, tap water of high quality drinking water to each and every family. How does our technology work? It's an atmospheric water generation technology, absorption technology, based on 2 main phases. In phase 1, we run the air through liquid salt, which is like a barrier. It actually cleans the water from pollution, from germs, and from bacteria, and collects almost 100% of the water vapor. And this is very important because the competing technology works on the whole mass of air, which has only 2% water vapor. What we do, we absorb the whole water vapor, thus working on a mass of 100% water vapor, which is very energy efficient. And at the end of the day, we condense the water and reach high quality distilled water, only to add some minerals for the taste and the standards. The technology was developed at the Technion. You can see here our 200 liter per day alpha product, producing for the last 4 years, proving the ability to work in various weather conditions. We're totally sustainable, easy, cheap operation, and I will talk about the team in a second. As for our market potential, there is a market potential of $45 billion. We're currently based on 3 main target markets: Southwest US, and specifically Phoenix, with tens of thousands of units not receiving building permits. Why? Because there is no water solution, and H2O can be that solution. Mexico City, with 16 million people, the highest per capita consumption of bottled water, and 20% of the population does not have tap water. And in New Delhi, by 2030, 40% surplus demand over a supply of water. Again, all these locations are dry, and we have a specific advantage in them compared to all other options. 2 business models: water as a service, selling water, and sale of systems. And I want to draw your attention to the number of the cost of our water, which is 9 cents per liter. Out of this number, 7.5 cents is energy. Once we link to photovoltaic cells, this will drop to 1.5 cents compared to what you see in the bottle. In the bottom, the alternative cost of water, which is between $0.50 to $1.3 per liter bottled water cost. So there's a substantial gross profit here. As for our value proposition, we have 3 main elements in our value proposition. We can be a complementary or alternative product for water companies, for water distributors, high profitability, as I just said, and a sustainable and healthy branding. So there are 3 elements of the value propositions. As for our go-to-market proposition, we have a few segments: commercial buildings, factories, and offices, hotels, hospitals, and universities, water kiosks. If you go to Walmart, you can see vending machines, and this is definitely an interesting marketing for us. and residential buildings. As for our customers, there will be service companies, bottled water distributors, water companies, and real estate developers. We have a very well-experienced team. Myself, Ilan Katz, our CTO, and Oded Distel. We all have a lot of experience in business, environmental engineering, and deep connections in the water ecosystems in Israel and abroad. And there is a distinguished scientific committee working with us very closely. Our current development program requires $5 million of raising, which we are now working on. It's going to serve for 2 years, and it's going to actually allow us to build 3 commercial pilots, to sell and lease 5 to 15 commercial pilots, to set the infrastructure of our operations and our sales, to launch the photovoltaic program, which is a development program. And we are currently executing an Israel Innovation Authority program for the first commercial pilot in a Bedouin school in the Negev, which is a 1.5 million shekel program. Out of this, we have invested out of pocket the matching of 400,000 shekels. So we welcome you to join us, and thank you.
You have a few questions. First, can you share with us a few words regarding electricity consumption?
Yes, the electricity consumption is a half kilowatt hour per liter, which requires actually 20 kilowatt per day. It's quite a lot of electricity. That's why the project to link to PV is a very important and strategic project on our side.
There's a question here: how many machines are out there, and how is the water collected, stored, and distributed?
So actually, the first machine is now being built. As I said, there is one alpha product in the Technion that people can come visit and taste the water. The water is collected in a tank, in a 500-liter tank, and is distributed directly to the final user.
Last question, is Canada a candidate for your system? We have a question from someone from
Canada.
Timor and Kedmi, a good partner of ours.
Canada is definitely a candidate. It all depends on the weather conditions, and surprisingly enough, cold countries are quite dry, so they're definitely a candidate.
That's exactly what Oren is saying here. He's writing to us that there's quite a need for waters. There's a severe water sources pollution in Canada. That's what we understand. And last but not least, can we thank you very much, Yoav. We're moving to Purple Lens. Menashe Shani, your turn to close this demo day.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me well? Yeah. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity to present you with Purple Lens goals and achievement. My name is Menashe Shani. I'm co-founder and CEO of the company. We give the opportunity for businesses around the world become fully accessible for people of all abilities. Assistive technology isn't nice to have solution. There is real people behind keyboard with real needs that are waiting for someone else sitting next to them in order to navigate online, consume information, or complete purchases. When website is not accessible, the small things such as filling contact form is impossible. For the business owners, it's double the pain. In Western countries, regulation is pushing for inclusive on digital assets, and in most of them, enforcement has begun. Online stores and services don't realize that they are losing customers and users by not being fully accessible to all. More than 400 million websites active, almost 97% were dedicated with accessibility's failure, which means only 3% of the internet is accessible to people with different abilities. Today, since the awareness is not so high, site manager looking to do the minimum to avoid lawsuits. We believe that in the next years, business and developers will look for the most effective solution that make the websites fully accessible. Regulation may be pushing, but the communities are demanding. Therefore, we are focusing on the problems and make sure our assistive technology works. why it's not that simple and how we solve it. For the website owners, our focus is on small, medium businesses, and in many cases, they are pushing back and don't want to add more expenses for the business. Purple Lens is the most cost-effective premium solution in the market. We remove cost barriers. The developers, many of the developers are not familiar with the accessibility guidelines and afraid to touch web accessibility because of the sensitivity. We provide them with all the knowledge. We provide the dev tools such as our scanner, and the only one in the world semi-automated scanner that in real time point you to accessibility issues and give you with the dev solution to solve it. We make developers web accessibility expert. This is make them our partner and emphasize our business model B2B to C. Community are demand, and we make sure our technology work. We stand with all the WCAG guidelines. There is two ways to apply accessibility on your websites. Coding from scratch, which is a very expensive solution, fit only for enterprise, and it's make you compromise on your web design. The second option is to use overlay solution that in most cases not really works. Most of overlay solutions claim for full automated solution, which is far from reality today. We combine both worlds, assistive technology widget that provide you with 80% automated solution and semi-automated scanner that helps and guides site manager and developers to complete the mission, achieving 100% web accessibility. Our ARR is $80K US, but the most proud point in this slide is the fact that out of the 500 paying clients, 350 of them renew the services first and second year. I'm very happy to say that we continue to grow with new clients joining us every day, and we accept 2024 and 2025 will be our scaling up years since the EU will start the enforcement and in Japan, web accessibility will be mandatory on July 2024. Some of leading brands that already trust Purple Lens, but I want to tell you, this is the real excitement because enterprise is obvious. And for small, medium users, it's not that simple. And they ask and pay for web accessibility solution. They choose to pay and renew the services year after year with an average cost package of $160 US. We established resellers agreement in Japan and Brazil with obligation for 6,000 licenses by 2026. This is equal to $900,000 US ARR. We with patent approval in the US for our technology feature for commerce sites that helps blind people to navigate and complete purchase in 6 to 10 steps only. Milan's Accessibility magazine in Canada choose Purple Lens to make their online magazine accessible to all. We reduce the number of active websites only for the CMS system that we can count, 130 million active websites. If we will take only 2.5%, the potential revenue is $2 billion a year. And this is based only on web accessibility solution. Our roadmap is deep with so many other technology related to the user experience on websites. We will become the standard for web accessibility. We will not guess or claim for full automation solution. We will work closely with the community and ask what their needs. Same as with the developers. We will improve our dev tools in order to make the work much easier and efficient. We are one of the top 10 premium solutions in the market. We are the only one that's really focusing on the problem. Two of our competitors, Accessibility and Userway, are leading the markets, but they have been encountering lots of resistance from the community for claiming one-click automated solution. Shlomi and I working together since 2016. Our first tech company was provide affordable technology solution for SMBs. After 4 years, we decided to focus on web accessibility solution and be the best. We are bootstrapped. We invest our personally money, our time and efforts to build Purple Lens. All the income rolling back into company for R&D, client support, and company management. We believe that with what we achieved so far, and with seed investments, we can continue to win the market, win the community, and win the developers. Continue to grow and scale up properly and present profitable income. And in 2 years from now, reach the second round of investment stronger and stable. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Menashe, thank you very much. One last question. How much was invested so far?
Nothing.
So this is the first
This is the
fundraising.
first round, yeah.
And where are you located?
In Tel Aviv, Israel.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
Let
listening.
me just summarize 60 seconds. So number one, again, thank you for all the presenters. It was amazing, extremely interesting, especially the impact side, I think is really touching. We have this slogan that Israeli high-tech is resilient, and I think we proved it today. 7 great companies, all of them are making progress, all of them very optimistic. I'm very proud that we were part of your story, and hope we continue to grow together. And thank you again for Mirav for organizing it, also for Gitit and Keren from our marketing department. And thank you everyone for joining us. I think as Mirav said, we will make sure that the presentations are available to everyone. The recording is available to everyone. Please be in touch with Mirav to get more information, and looking forward to meeting everyone on the next demo day. So thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.